sounds are okay. You should be able to hear me. But I thought I'd do another one of these. We will go live lunchtime thing. The we're all lunchtime, aren't we? Where we just have a little bit of discussion about Wednesday and how things are going and how we think it going on this lunchtime, because some of you might be able to have a bit of a break off from your lunch, just to pop in and have a say. But been an interesting one so far this morning. There's been a lot of talk about Wednesday in terms of what we've been going on with certain people, in terms of certain people, aka Joff Windass. We turned down a bid for Mr. Windass, didn't we? From Santos. So that's something that we were very much looking at and going, hey, maybe this is something we should do and kind of not let them get him. And now it'll be interesting to see if Santos come back at all, because they might come back. They might come back with another bid, but I don't know. I generally don't know if they will. It will be very interesting to see if Santos came back with another bid, testing the waters, because their season starts really, really soon, and they will want to get players in as fast as humanly possible, as quick as humanly possible as well. So it's things like that you have to go and have a look at and see what happens and who is able to come in, basically. And that's the basically the gist of it. We need to make sure we can make sure that he's settled and ready to stay. Like, looks like the initial thing is a 1-and-1 deal, one deal this year, and then we got an option to do if we want. And that's one of those ones where I think if we can get an option to get him elsewhere, then fantastic. That's what you want to do. You really want to see if you can get that option hit, because it shows that there's a bit of interest there. Now, also spoke about the scouts that have been at the games. That one's interest. Remember to like the video if you're the stream, if you're in here. Much appreciate it. Everything helps the channel. It helps grow the video. It helps push it out a little bit. And I said I was going to do more of these when I could, and these are a little bit like the little bit of transfery stuff that is going on now. If you remember, we were talking about the Aussie kid just before, I believe it was either just before the Middlesbrough game or just after the Middlesbrough game. It was a weird one, because it was just around the time when we played them. Now, Thomas Waddington looks like he's may have played his last game for his club in Australia. And it's one of those things that'll be interesting. All right, mate, how you doing? Hope you're well. Liam? Hope you're good. I hope you're warm, at least, because it's bloody freezing today. But that Thomas Wadlington, who's at Bristol Raw currently, now didn't play last night, and it seems like we're interested in him, as are Portsmouth. But QPR have apparently put a bid in, and I know someone's gonna have the same reaction I had. Why is it always QPR? Why is it always a club down south? Location-wise, kind of perfect for a kid if he's coming over from Australia. If he wants family to come over, if he wants to get back to Australia quicker, you go from London Heathrow, sorted, bing bang bosh. But 19-year-old, they put a bid in. No idea if they've accepted it. No idea if there's anything in it in that sense. But they did have the thing where I think they were saying that they are a club that need to profit on these kind of players a little bit. So when it happens, they're going to take a big chance of trying to get him in the building for them. Let me just go through my chat messages. There we go, all messages. There we are, better, because it was doing top first. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Wednesday transfer-wise, because right now, from what we've heard from Danny, there have been no talk about transfers coming in. And what Danny said, there is no transfers at the moment. Portsmouth have a few Australians in their team, so could help him settle in better. Yeah, I think I've seen that as well. It's like, I think if you've got a couple of Aussies that are already in your team, I think it helps, and that's something we need to really just realise on things, especially when it's a young player coming in, settling in. That could be something that helps as well. I think they've had a couple of Australians in the team in the past. I don't know if they've got any in now, but that could help him as well. I'd like personally to put a bid in for him and go, he's one for now, but he's also one for the future. It's one of those risk and reward kind of thing, because you look at when we brought in Gassama. Gassama was very much a risk at the point that he'd only played one. He'd only played one game for PSG, and that's all it is. 18 people watching, one like, get the likes up, people. Much appreciate it. Evening, Debbie. I keep saying evening. Afternoon, Debbie. How you doing? Hope you're well, lovely. Hope you're warm more than anything. But the thing is, for me, is the situation with it is that we know that at the minute there's been nothing spoke about by manager and chairman, by the sounds of it, about transfers coming in yet. But we're obviously doing work with transfer going out because Sean Hughes has gone out. And that got to be an agreement between Danny, the recruitment, the academy manager, and the chairman. There got to be that link of going, yeah, I agree for that. I agree to that much money that we're going to pay wages. So there is obviously some sort of talk going there, or Sean wouldn't have left. You wouldn't have heard anything about a player leaving on loan. It just wouldn't have happened. There is that transfer talk there, but we need to be talking about players in as well. Now, we do need defensive backup, and if we can get them in, fantastic. If we can get the whole situation to with Chansiri and Danny sorted, even better, because there's so many different theories and different things going about. It's getting a little bit silly trying to figure out what and what's not. And at the end of the day, sometimes you hear these things and you never find out about what's happened. Like, look at the Darren Moore situation. Darren Moore, a lot of the reason Darren got annoyed this time when we were in League One is he wanted players and Chansiri wouldn't sign off on them. And that's been the rhetoric from a lot of sources that were close to it, i.e. you got your Dom Hawson got the same story. I think Krang got the same story as well, just saying that there was players he wanted in and he said no to. And it is starting to feel a little bit like that period of time when Darren wanted the extra players to give us that little extra push. It got that feel to it. And that's annoying because we knew what we needed then. Ironically, defensive players. It's like we got a habit of not being able to get them sorted. Afternoon. I hope he's still asleep, by the way. But it's that interesting thing for me with where we are as a club. Now, some people said, have we kind of fluked it this season by being 10th and having a decent manager and it being a poorer championship than usual, and that's why we're in 10th at the minute? Some of the teams around us are just not where they should be in theory. Chansiri all will triple up again. I can see it. I can see it, mate. I understand that. I'm not one of the biggest fans of people knows. I've done many a rant on the bloke. It does feel like that. It does feel like Chansiri will kill another one of those kind of golden opportunities where we got the right bloke to try and help us get up there, but it won't materialise. It's like, the thing is, I always wonder when it comes to these things, especially at transfer windows. Yes, Chansiri have always backed his manager. He backed Danny in the summer. He backed him in last January. He's got to back him this January. There can't be a case of being no way of doing a deal. There's got to be a deal. Ian, he knows. Afternoon, communal fish. How you doing, mate? I try with him, but he does this all the time. Yep. This is our best chance we're going to have. Yep. And the thing is, come the summer, someone will come sniffing around and looking for a manager, and they will pay the compo for Danny. Danny will more than likely not be here the start of next season, I feel. Unless there's a way of getting this sort of between the two people. And at the minute, we are not 100% sure what's going on. And Danny's getting a lot of suitors and a lot of people are liking what he does. And that's good for us. That's good for us in one sense because it puts us on a bigger stage. But then we're going to be having the 2-year cycle again of 2 years and then having to find a new manager. 2 years, then having to find a new manager. We've had this cycle for the longest time. And the one thing that you need is a bit of stability. And this is where like a director of football helps. How much of this is integrated and how much the difficulties of international finances? Good question. Good question. It's a good question because we don't know. We don't know how much of it is financial problem and how much of it is DC. There could be a bit of both. There could be a bit of both with that. There could be a little bit of Chancery saying this is what you got, but we will never know. Do you know when Chancery is coming to England? He's meant to be coming next week. He's meant to be coming next week. He may even be coming for the weekend. I'm not sure. You hope it's soon. I hope that the fan forum, it's not him on a Zoom call. Let's put it that way. Because that will... I think if it's him on a Zoom call, that will say everything about how the transfer window's going. Personally, but I don't think he'd do that. I think he'd come over. Phil Danny will be Southampton manager next season, which he's kicking. He probably will be. Or there'll be a club in Germany that'll see him and take him. That's always been the worry. It's like there's always that kind of chance of what happened because of Southampton putting a break clause in their current manager contract. It always felt like you're the guy for now, but we don't believe in you for the future. We don't think you're the bloke to take us forward. And it seems like there's a break in the contract because they might be able to want to go down, use the parachute money to then go and get Danny. Because getting Danny won't blow a huge chunk of their transfer budget, but it will make a dent kind of thing to get him. So it's an interesting one, and it's always going to be how the accounts look as well. 28 people watching, 5 likes, get those likes up, people. I hope you're all doing well today, because the thing is, there's always this whole thing where people turn around and say that we want a that Danny wants this, this, and this, when we're never too sure. Danny will want. That's the point. Danny will want a full pre-season. If he goes, he will. Ian and Catherine, how you doing? Hope you're well. Most managers last most managers last less than 2 seasons, so we don't read too much into it. A club having a break clause just seems like a sensible business these days. Yes, yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you're saying. I think I won't lie. I genuinely think Sheffield Wednesday are pretty much in a good position kind of thing right now. And I also had the whole thing with Southampton. I can pretty much see with Southampton that they're already down. And I think that's the reason why they've not given them too long a thing. I let chat if you could go live, and then you did one. I did say I was going to go live one back to you, yes, because I hadn't done one of these in a while. If Chelsea had a break clause with Potter, they'd save 40 million. Yeah, he's about to become the West Ham manager, which will be a good one. I think that's a good one for him. But I think it's smart business, like you said, Andy. Oh, let me just hear. I can hear something. So I think it, like you said, it's just good business practice, really. But we will have to see what happens and what's on the cards. Right now, I don't think anyone sees Danny leaving halfway through the season, unless someone hits that release clause. If someone hits that release clause, then he's gone. It's very simple. Or agrees in compensation, I should say. Not release clause. Yeah, I'm not having a bad day. Not too bad. It's just a bit of a quiet one today. The Josh Windass thing is interesting. We knocked back a 6-figure bid. I know Andy in the chat isn't a fan of Josh, but he agreed to knock that one back. It'll be interesting to see if Santos come back into him. I have a funny feeling they won't, but I've been wrong on things before. But I have a funny feeling they will not come back into it. Personally, generally, I just don't think they will. Dano, I don't feel like Danny wants away. He might want more movement on the transfers. but that's not the saying he wants out. No, it's not saying he wants out, but I think that it's a weird one because what's been reported the last couple of weeks isn't the same of what got said back in October. Back in October, he said, what was it? He said that him and Kevin Beadle and Chan Series sat down and they put a list together of the players who they want to bring in and had the meeting ready for January. So they were ready, right? So they were ready for it. Now we're getting that. We haven't had the talks. It feels like that last bit of communication to get the last bit done hasn't been done. Six figures don't cut it. Yep, I could see if we don't sign anyone because he'd been talking all long about how to improve important the transfer window is. Yeah. When Windass is good, he's good. My problem is he's only good when he can be bothered. Luckily, he bothered at the moment. I think Josh's case. I think a lot of people have that thing with Josh. It's an inconsistency. When he's consistent, he's fantastic and he's a joy to watch. I think with Josh this year, one of the reasons why we're seeing the best out of Windass though is the fact that he is being rested. His minutes are being managed a lot better. And a lot of the team minutes are being managed a hell of a lot better. And that's something that I am not used to Wednesday doing. I'm not used to seeing Wednesday manage minutes as well as we are doing. And it's something we need to try and keep up with and keep improving those minutes managed because they help. It stops us from having the injuries that we've had. I don't think we've had as bad as a touch wood record as late, but the thing is you've got to look at what can be improved and how we can go forward a little bit more. And the one thing that we've got at the minute is that if we can get the right additions in this window, we could potentially do what we did last season and go on that run. And that's the thing that I keep banging on about, and everyone keep getting sick and tired of me saying it. But we have to have that good run. But Danny needs. We're not asking Chansiri for 5, 6, 7 million to go get 2 players. We're just asking for 2 decent loans at the back and a striker. And I think we'd probably be good with that. But it's about finding the right people. It's getting them to come on board for the idea. Seeing if Danny can get them to convince them, move them in the talking point of it. Good point. Josh has only played 90 minutes once start of October. Yeah, he's been very well managed, and I think Josh said it himself after the Derby games, saying he doesn't like being subbed, and I think he's also said that he's not a fan of it, but he gets it. It's the same with Pato. Pato don't like being subbed. And if you look at our squad, there probably is some players like, say, maybe a Patterson you could sell this window to get a bit of profit in to then use that for someone else. But my issue there is that last January, we had it all but sewn up for Coventry from West Ham. It was already up here. The deal was all ready to go. Everything was sorted. And then all of a sudden, Charlton came in. London-based club. Means he doesn't have to leave London. Can stay down south. And then we have the situation and go, we've lost him. But before we did that, we already let Byers go on loan to Blackpool, and we've let Backinson go to Charlton. So we managed to let 2 players go to make room to get 1 in, and that's all good and great. But we need to do it. We need to do it that way if we're going to let players go. That there's another player ready to come in. Does Danny lose some credibility when asking money, considering he spent a lot on Ubbo, and has he not played to? I don't think he played to Ubbo's strength since he's been here. He's trying to play him the same way he plays Smith, and Smith and Ubbo are completely different players. I think Ugbo needs someone at the side of him, and Ugbo's more of a poacher than a hold-up player. I think he's had enough money to spend on it. Yeah, definitely, and I get it, but I don't think Danny was expecting, and I hope not anyway. I hope Danny wasn't expecting it to be from Chansiri. That's all you're getting. What you got with the entire squad, and we're not putting anything in January. That is something that you could maybe say that they said that's happened. But I don't see that because I don't think Danny would agree to that because he would be like, if I need players, I'm gonna have to ask you for them. We are not playing to both strength at all though. He's not a hold-up player that you keep being put into. I like the minutes MGMT thing too, but you can be too dogmatic. It's our subs have employed 7 or 8 minutes earlier. We might have won the Millwall game. Sometimes intercepted better than. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Danny been a lot better with his substitutions this year. He's been a lot better with how quick he changes the game, and that's something I am really happy to see. That's just him improving as a manager, right? He's just improving as a manager with the more he's able to change things up. And we've seen it in many matches where he'll change tactic quite quickly. He'll change things on the fly. And I like that. I do like that. But the problem you got is, yes, he did wait a bit too long. But when he made the subs versus Millwall, you got to remember, one of them was an enforced sub originally. He will not have wanted to take Iorfa off. Odebayo did fantastic, though. Don't get me wrong. Come on, guys. Hail Madrid. Hello, mate. You've got presidential thing popping up soon. Ubbo missing a pervador. I think the team in general is missing a creative midfield, tricky winger situation. It's why I kind of want to see Kabachi come good this second half of the season. Because I think Kabachi got the potential to be that pervader link-up for Ubbo and get the ball in the box. Because you've seen how Kabachi played at times. He's very similar with the way he jinks into the box. Tried to get it into that middle bit where the penalty spot is. And tries his best to just put it on a plate. He's very good at that. Now, because he got that injury, we haven't seen it as enough. But I think Kabachi was meant to be your pervader replacement. Your tricky little winger, being able to run at people, being able to get into the box. And again, it's kind of a good thing we didn't get pervader when you look at how bad his injuries has been at Sunderland. He's out again. He was just about to get back into the Sunderland team ready to get going again, and he hit another injury. So he'd gone from injury to playing 15 minutes, then to another injury, then to another injury. The lad can't catch a break, and I don't wish that on any player. But maybe when they did well not to go and get suckered in by the agent, going, well, we want X, Y, and then it's like, well, we're not going to give you this because this is with your record last season with us. So it's looking more and more like we dodged the bullet, like Jez said. Pervader playing 44 minutes all season in all comps. It's ridiculous. And he's on a 4-year contract. It's a long contract. So I think if they go up, if Sunderland went up by the playoffs, or if they might get that automatic spot, I could potentially see Sunderland selling him on and going, look, we tried. Your contract's huge. We don't think you're going to get fit enough. Who knows? But it does look like we dodged a big bullet in Pervader. But if we can get Kabachi in the squad and give him a run, I think there's a potential for that. Like, what I liked about Svante Ingelsson is the fact that he'd been able to play on a bit of that left-hand side and use his strength a lot. And he's good at getting the ball into the box. The one thing Ubbo really can say one of his big strengths was last season was when a ball came into the box, he pounced on it. And that's something that we've not seen so far for Bo this season. It's been more of him trying to carry it into the box himself and then get onto it. And I don't think that's Ugbo's game. I think Ugbo's game is more being a in the box poacher, waiting for that ball to bobble and getting it. And if we can get that part of Ugbo's game back, then fantastic. And I also think if you look at how Danny set the team up at times this season, he's not scared to change it if he got it wrong. He'll change it quickly. Like, and the bits like, I think there was a game, I think it may have been the Preston game at home. He said 15 minutes in he wanted to change it in terms of personnel, but didn't. And I get why he didn't. The only thing I don't get is when Svante's had a good game, he'll get dropped the next. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. I'd like to see Svante get a big run of games. That frustrates the hell out of me. I think Svante needs a run of games because I think we'll see the best out of him if we get a big run of games out of him. But I don't know if we're going to see that yet. Maybe with January and February being a lot of games, we might see it a little bit more. But the thing is, the big thing right now is that if we can get Svante to play a bit more games, and he's actually been a really good off the bench option as well. But I'd like to see him get in a continual run of game. But where he plays is where Charles and Bannon plays. And it's a difficult one because unless you drop in Bannon because he needs more of a rest, like say it's a Saturday to Tuesday, say you drop Bannon Tuesday because he plays Saturday, that's the only way I think you see Svante getting more minutes. But again, it wouldn't be next game. He would be dropped again because Bannon would be ready. It's an interesting one. The Svante Ingolson needing a little bit more of a... What will I say the word? Consistent run of games to see the best out of him, I think. 19 people watching, 8 likes. Get those likes up, people. I much appreciate it. Because I will be doing the school run around about 2:30, which will be good. But we need to have a consistent run of game for Svante. Yeah, definitely. And that's something I think we need to find a way of incorporating him to the side a lot better. Because I think it's very, very difficult to do so at the moment. And I get why Charles was brought in to try and do it. I do understand that. So it'll be interesting to see when they can do in that sense. I think as a team, we're not that bad. I think one of the other things is, for me, Marvin Johnson needs more of a rest. Now, Marvin Johnson was meant to be rotation with Max Lowe. But because Max is playing for the cover that we got for Akin, Johnson's not getting much of a rest. Now, someone mentioned it before, my mate Tom. He had mentioned it before, and I think he mentioned it yesterday to me. What about looking at, let's say, free agent Brandon Williams, the ex-Man United player? It's not a bad shout. Just to have a bit more of that experience or bit of rotation, squad player situation. Not a bad shout, even if it's just for 6 months to see what happens. But I don't know if that's something when they would do, because I think we would have done it already. Like, generally, I think we would have already tried to have a look at that already, considering the free agent. You wouldn't have to be waiting until the transfer window to get him in. It's weird how there's a lot of players this season who look pretty decent. Nathan Ferguson won, Brandon Williams, who have all not managed to get games this season. Or not games, sorry, clubs this season, for whatever reason. And it's that kind of thing you're seeing it more and more at times, that there's a lot of good players who are in free agent market who are just waiting for a club, or they're waiting for that big club to come in. But then it don't happen. Last time, 1-5, lost 2, we're doing really well. But feel like the fans think we're trying. I get that feeling. No, I get that feeling. Trust me, Andy. I get that feeling a lot from some of the comments. I'd had the whole thing when I said to fans and gone, we're 10th. If we'd given me 10th place at the end of the season, at the end of the year, I would have snatched your hands off. I think there's a lot that are just worried that it's either going to plateau, or if we don't get the players in for cover or for what Danny wants, they're the way of the season tumbling. And I think that's what people are worried about. And I think that's a bit of it. But there is a lot who you don't look at how we've done. We've not done too bad. And if you actually look at those two losses, the losses that we should have just been a lot better in the game. We should have just put those games to bed, and we didn't. And the thing is, with that, five wins, 2 losses, it's the draws that show where we are. We are a mid-table team. Mid-table teams draw a lot of games. It's very, very simple. You look at the records path, a lot of mid-table teams will draw games because they've not quite got that defensive stability, and they haven't got quite enough goals to kill a game. Like Danny said it best, that he'd love for to just win some games 1-0. Because our last clean sheet was Stoke at home. We haven't had a clean sheet since Stoke at home, and I'd be banging on about how we need a clean sheet. Clean sheets help you win games. Clean sheets help get that goal difference down. And we just haven't had it, and that's the annoying thing as well, because I don't know, with some of the goals that we keep conceding, it feels like it's a bit of a lack of concentration. Give a silly free kick away, then we don't set up right for the free kick, and then once the free kick's been taken, we have the situation where it then is a bit of pinball in the box, and 9 times out of 10, we don't deal with it properly. So it's a simple goal for the opposition where we could have prevented it by not giving away the silly free kick. And the thing is, like, we gave away some silly free kicks and set pieces during Derby, and that was the last thing you want to play and do that with, because if you do that against them, they will punish you. 29 people in, 10 like, get those likes up, people. Much appreciate it. Everything helps. I'm confident that there are enough teams worse than us this division to keep us out of trouble. I quite enjoy seeing what Danny can squeeze out of the squad this season. Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of teams that are worse off. It all depends what teams do and strengthen around us as well, though. Preston has started to strengthen quite well. It looks like Hull might go get Gerhard from Leeds. I believe Cardiff are looking it, but Cardiff have also said publicly that they are in a relegation battle. They're preparing themselves just in case. Like, if Cardiff go down to League One, business-wise, that will be a big, big blow for them. Plymouth have still not got a manager. They look like David Wagner's one of the contenders. Not a bad shout if you can get it up and running. But they have just lost one of their main defenders in Lewis Gibson to, ironically, I think it was Preston. And the thing is, then they used that money to go get Michael Badu, who was the young Swedish lad we were looking at. He's not Swedish, though. The lad who was playing in Sweden. I think he's Ghanaian. I sort of feel like we are one commanding defender and we're good. We scored 15 in the last 6. It's at the back. It's at the back that we are struggling at. It's not... I think goals are coming. They're just not coming from what people want it to be, which is a striker. And I think that's the thing with Ugba. I think people are thinking he's not doing great because he's not scoring. But he actually does the link-up play really well. He starts attacks really well. He's good at trying to hold that ball up to bring people in. And I think that's something where you don't look at, like, there was a goal recently, not that recently actually, I think it was Pompey, it may have been Pompey, or it might be someone else. But I can't remember the goal, but you see him create the space for the player to go and attack it because the defender's gone to go to him because they think he's going to pass it to him. So he created the space and opened it up well. And it's that kind of thing that people are not seeing. They just hear striker and think, oh, he's going to be scoring goals. That is one of his main jobs, don't get me wrong. But there's lots of other things that he does well as well. We are missing a leader at the back. Bernard ain't a leader. Neither thy author. We're missing a communicator at the back. because there's so many times where the defense is just a little bit lackluster, and there isn't that communication. I feel like people have put recently. People said, "Oh, Beadle's the problem. Beadle's the issue. He's not that good a keeper. He's let too many goals in." But Beadle's been part of the reason why we haven't been absolutely battered in games at times, because he kept us in games really well. And I do think it's a little bit unfair for Beadle to get some of the stick. I know it because it's a group effort, but your keepers only can sometimes be as good as what's in front of you. And I think he's done really well. Gabriel is not ready yet, but has the making. He had the making to be a leader. He does speak. He communicates well, and he seems like he's a lad who's got a mature head on young shoulders, which is good. He looked good. Gabriel did look good, and you could see it immediately when he came on. He was already pointing and shouting and saying where to people to go, which I like. I believe he'd been a captain before when he was at Burnley, and I think he did a couple of captaincies at times with some of the under 21 we went to. But he got the potential to be that player. That is something that I will say. But just having someone at the back who's a little bit of a leader, someone who can help out a little bit and not make us feel too lost at the back, and that's the word I use, lost. But guys, I've been going for about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go on this one. I'm gonna go have a chill before I have to go get my little one and Troyance all the way back in the snow again. I will try and do some more things during this transfer window, where if there's any kind of like rumours about stuff, we might actually do a rumour mill transfer live kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see. But have a good one all. Stay safe, keep out the snow, and I hope you have a good one yourselves. And now I need to figure out how to end the live.